for my audience to build. But I have a strong desire tonight. The Lord has really been dealing with me concerning purpose. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a visionary. I believe in writing the vision, making it plain, which is right now I'm offering my vision book, really pushing my vision book. Again, if you've been following me since 2016, back in 2016, I created a vision book. It's just a simple binder. It's not the outside that matters. It's the inside. And so every year I update my vision book. Every year I talk about my goals and the things that I want to accomplish within this year. And whatever I don't accomplish in the previous year, I carry it over to my vision book for the next year. So these are my new templates, my new sheets. I'm going to update that shortly. But I really didn't get on here tonight to talk so much about the vision board. I wanted to deal with and talk about purpose, and how purpose generates so much. Purpose generates massive success. And what I mean is, back in 2014, I started a Mary Kay consultant. I started as a Mary Kay consultant. Hey, Danita. Started off as a Mary Kay consultant, and I was so interested because we all had this concept of making extra income and not really having a punch a time clock. That was the pitch that we often get in whatever we're doing. So I tried Mary Kay. I tried It Works. Now, hear me today. I am not downing anybody. If you're an It Works consultant, if you're a Mary Kay consultant, whatever you do in your free time, in your spare time, that's great. But I got on here because March of 2014, I started Mary Kay. But shortly months later, I launched my own brand, Mothers in Ministry. And I literally watched God generate more income for me in Mothers in Ministry than I did as a Mary Kay consultant. And so that's why I want to talk about purpose, because we have to understand there's a difference between pushing somebody else's idea and pushing somebody else's dream versus operating in that very dream or desire that God has given you. Whenever you're operating in your purpose, God opens doors for you to cultivate you and to generate the wealth and the success that you really desire, because you're enhancing the kingdom of God. You're pushing a God-given gift. You're pushing a God-given goal. You're pushing a God-given dream. And so I want to talk about operating in purpose, because purpose generates, and purpose is powerful. Since I started Mothers in Ministry, I published a book. I've launched my t-shirt line. I have now a workbook out that I'm floating around with the idea of actually publishing. I've established an entire brand off of purpose, off of the very thing that God placed down on the inside of me, versus a false idea of, if I buy into or invest into this business over here, it'll generate wealth for me. Mothers in Ministry, and I tell people all the time, Mothers in Ministry is something that I would do for free, because I absolutely love the ministry. I absolutely love the opportunity to coach people, to create content, to create workbooks, to write, to journal, to preach. Every aspect of what Mothers in Ministry is, I love it wholeheartedly. And so I want you to really, this isn't a type of a video of, find your purpose. Yes, you have to find your purpose, but we make that so complicated. And I tell people all the time, you cannot ask anybody else what you were created for, because they did not create you, right? So your purpose and your destiny is wrapped up in God. And so you have to seek God as to what it is that He has created you for. And once you find out what God created you for, you operate in that lane, and you dominate in that lane. And so nobody can do Mothers in Ministry better than me, right? Because I am Mothers in Ministry. This is something that God gave me. So when you're operating in your purpose, you're operating in original content. You're operating in originality. You're operating in original creativity. These are things that God has given you to operate in, and nobody can do it better than you, because He gave it to you. And so if, for example, cosmetic wise, if you are a makeup artist, right, then becoming a Mary Kay consultant will be something that's perfect for you, because it's going to aid you in operating in your gift. If you are, let's say you get into coaching, fitness coaching, you're becoming a personal trainer, then the It Works products, the natural energy and the vitamins and all the things that It Works offers, those are things that will aid you in your purpose, but those things aren't your actual purpose. And so we have to get to a place where we are operating in our purpose, because when we operate in our purpose, that is what generates the success that we're looking for. When I say success, I'm not even just talking about a financial aspect of the word. We have to redefine what success is. I think a brand is successful if one person is impacted. If you're impacting people with your brand, if you're impacting people with your ministry, then trust me, you're successful. We often compare ourselves to other people on social media, and we think that if I'm not bringing in a certain amount of revenue, or if I don't have a certain amount of followers, if I don't have a certain amount of interaction, then I'm not successful. Hey, Joe. But we have to redefine what success is. And so I'm so grateful for my brand mothers in ministry, for the people that have inboxed me to say, your brand really encourages me. To me, that's successful. To the people that have purchased T-shirts and purchased books, and people like you who join in on my live streams and this, that, and the third, we have to operate in purpose. That's number one. Number two, I'm never afraid of never going to the next level in my brand, right? Sometimes we think we can plateau in a place. When you are connected to God and you're operating in your purpose, you're always evolving. You're going to always evolve. And so the person that you are right now, 10 years from now, your brand is going to totally supersede where it is today, because as you evolve as a person, as you grow as a person, as God reveals to you the depths of who you are, let me tell you something, you'll never fully know who you are, because God is constantly stretching you. He's constantly growing you. And so that is the beauty of it, is that nobody can do what you do like you do it, because God gave that thing to you. And can I also tell you, there is an audience assigned to you. There's an audience assigned to you. 50,000 people can post fitness videos, right? But it's your fitness videos that gets people motivated. 50,000 people can post content about forgiveness and healing and emotional wellness, but some people will not respond only but to you, because they have been assigned to you. You have to know your audience. I know the women in ministry that I serve. I'm not looking for women that's already established. I'm here to serve women that think they can't do it. I'm here to serve the women that have small children so they think they can't go to school right now. I'm here to serve the women that feel like, I want to preach and I want to teach and I want to go forth in my dreams and my goals and my purpose and in my desires, but I can't do it right now because I have small children. These are the women that I have been assigned to. These are the women that I'm praying and I'm interceding for. These are the people that I am creating content for, and I'm mailing out content to get it into their hands. Give me 1 second. Example. So I published a book back in 2016, but then last year I created a workbook. This is just an example. Now my workbook is not published, but because of the woman that I am, the business-minded woman, I own the copyright. So my book is copywritten with uscopyright.gov. And so again, I created a workbook because what about the women that cannot always up and go because they have small children, right? So I understand how my brand works. When I first started Mothers in Ministry, I was doing women fellowships. So I was expecting mothers with small children to meet me at a church service at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so I was getting a turn up of maybe 5 women. Did that mean my brand was ineffective? Absolutely not. That just meant that I had to revamp my brand in order to serve the audience that was looking for whatever it was that I was offering. So catch that, hear me today. Number 1, you have to know the audience that you're serving. Number 2, if plan A does not work for your audience, then you have to revamp your brand so that, give them another option. And so once I realized that the meetups weren't working, it wasn't convenient for the mothers, that's when I started to transition into conference calls. So those 5 people that may have been in the meetings turned into 15 people on my conference calls. And so that's another option, knowing that you have to know your audience, know who you're serving in your purpose. That's number 1. And number 2, if what you did not work, it does not mean you're not successful. It simply means you might need to revamp some things. Look at what you already have. Look at who's mostly commenting. Who are the people that's always following you? Who are the people that's always emailing you? Who are the people that's always inboxing you? Pay attention to those people because they are interested in your brand. They need your brand. They're here to support your brand. And so pay attention to the needs of the people that are following you, right? Because at the end of the day, your brand is nothing more than a promise, right? Your brand is nothing more than a promise. And if you cannot deliver on your word, then point blank period, it makes you a liar, right? So my personal statement, my personal mission statement for Mothers in Ministry is that I create content and material for personal and spiritual development. So again, this workbook, 5 strategies to launch you in the right direction. This was a workbook that I created with women in mind that work full-time jobs, women in mind that have small children, women in mind that are in school. I created a workbook where you did not have to leave home in order to take this course. I created a workbook that I could mail to you and you would have an extension of who I am in your house. Anything that I write, anything that I do, it's an extension of who I am. And so your content, your work, your brand, it should have a level of originality. When I read your material, hey, Pastor, y'all. When I read your material, it should sound like an extension of who you are. Right? So again, purpose always generates. We have to stop looking for these get rich quick schemes. Purpose generates. Purpose opens doors. Purpose opens, God will favor you when you're operating in your purpose. God will give you revelation when you're operating in your purpose. God will take something and cause you'll look at yourself and say, I don't even know how I just did that. That's how I felt. I created this workbook in a matter of weeks, and I said, God, I don't even know how I just did what I did. But because by faith, I trusted the things that God placed down on the inside of me, and I was operating in my purpose. And so when you operate in your purpose, God stretches you, right? He causes you to evolve within that thing. He causes you to have the wisdom that you need. People will ask you, how long have you been doing this? People will think that you've been doing these things for years. And it's only because you're operating in your purpose. God is establishing you as you operate in your purpose. God is ordering your steps as you operate in your purpose. Trust me, even the mistakes that you make, it's not even enough of a mistake to set you back, right? It's just a small, minute mistake. And so we have to understand and we have to realize that there is an audience out there. You are the answer to somebody's prayer. Trust me when I tell you that's not cliche. Somebody out there is praying for the manifestation of something to happen. And that manifestation is down on the inside of you. They're waiting for you to birth out the very thing that they've been praying for. Trust me. And so I always tell people, if there is something that you are looking for, that you need, right? But you have not found it yet, then maybe God is waiting on you to create that thing. Maybe God is waiting on you to birth that thing. So I didn't want to be long. I just want to encourage you. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you're not operating in your purpose, even myself, I have a job. I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm grateful for my job, but my job has nothing to do with my purpose. Nothing to do with my purpose. And so because my job has nothing to do with my purpose, there's only one thing to do. Take the necessary steps that I need to take to align my gifts, my goals, my talents, my dreams, and my desires, right? So that I can operate in an environment that best allows me to utilize the gifts and the talents of who I am. When you're passionate about it, absolutely. I watch your videos, your fitness videos all the time. For those of you wondering who I'm talking to, follow Bleak Braddock. Awesome. I love your videos. Very motivational. Even the food prep, very important. Even the food prep is very important. But again, when you post your videos, when you post your content, people see the passion in all of that. And so I tell people all the time, a lot of people ask me, well, how did you start your brand? I didn't start it off as a brand. I started doing something that I was passionate about. And because of the passion, God grew that passion. It went from being a blog to me starting a t-shirt line, to me publishing a book, to me creating a workbook, to me becoming a speaker, to me, hosting events. None of this was my desire. None of this was my goal. I was just simply passionate about creating a platform where I could encourage other women or other mothers that felt discouraged as I did in that time when I started my brand. And so, number one,